Welcome to Topical Economics. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our insightful videos on key economic concepts. In today's video, we're diving into the topic of price changes. I'll be walking you through some past paper multiple choice questions, carefully analyzing each one to explain why the correct answer is what it is. Whether you're preparing for exams or just want to strengthen your understanding of economics, this video will help you get to grip with important concepts in a clear and practical way. So, let's get started. Starting with the first question. A medical report that outlined the disadvantages of eating sugar caused the demand for sugar to decrease. However, producers of sugar were not able to adjust their supply quickly and continued producing sugar at previous levels. What was likely to have happened in the market for sugar? A. A government subsidy. B. Excess demand. C. Excess supply. D. Rising prices. This question is from year 2022 February-March version 2. The correct answer for this question is option C, excess supply. After the medical report outlined the disadvantages of eating sugar, the demand for sugar decreased as consumers became more conscious of its health risks. However, sugar producers were unable to adjust their supply quickly and continued producing at the same levels as before. As a result, the quantity of sugar available in the market exceeded the reduced demand, creating an excess supply. This surplus of sugar would likely lead to downward pressure on prices, as producers would attempt to sell off the extra stock. Moving to question 2. An economy relies on potash to make fertilizer. A new deposit of potash is discovered. Which diagram shows this change in the market for potash? This question is from year 2021 October-November version 2. The correct answer for this question is option D. When a new deposit of potash is discovered, it increases the supply of potash available in the market. This is a shift in the supply curve to the right, as producers can now access more potash at every price level. In the market for potash, the supply curve will shift rightward, meaning that at the same prices, more potash will be supplied due to the increased availability from the new deposit. The demand curve remains unchanged unless other factors, like changes in demand for fertilizer, occur. Moving to question 3. The diagram shows percentage changes in house prices in an economically developed country. What might have caused these changes in prices? A. An increase in government subsidies to house builders. B. An increase in income. C. An increase in the supply of houses. D. An increase in unemployment. This question is from year 2020 specimen version 1. The correct answer for this question is option B, an increase in income. When people's incomes rise, they generally have more money to spend, which increases demand for goods and services, including housing. As demand for houses increases while supply remains relatively fixed in the short term, house prices are likely to rise. This is a classic example of demand pull inflation, where an increase in demand drives up prices. Moving to question 4. In 2018, the UK government introduced a tax on the production of sugary drinks. How would this affect the market for sugary drinks as shown on a demand and supply diagram? This question is from year 2020 February-March version 2. The correct answer for this question is option A. The tax is levied on producers, increasing their costs of production. This means that for every quantity of sugary drinks produced, it becomes more expensive for firms to supply them. As a result, the supply curve shifts leftward or upward if shown on a price-quantity diagram. This shift represents a decrease in supply, as producers are less willing or able to produce the same quantity of sugary drinks at each price due to the increased cost of production. The higher price will likely lead to a decrease in the quantity demanded for sugary drinks, according to the law of demand, which states that, ceteris paribus, as the price of a good increases, the quantity demanded decreases. This is represented by a movement along the demand curve to the left, reflecting a reduction in the amount of sugary drinks consumers are willing to buy at the new higher price. Moving to question 5. There has been a movement upwards along the supply curve of a product. What is the most likely explanation for this? A. Consumer incomes have fallen. B. New technology has made the product cheaper to produce. C. The government has imposed a tax on the product. D. The price of a substitute has increased. This question is from year 2019 October, November, version 3. The correct answer for this question is option D. The price of a substitute has increased is the correct answer because it would lead to changes in the quantity supplied due to the producer's response to relative profitability, causing a movement along the supply curve. Moving to question 6. A large amount of the agricultural products in a country were damaged by floods. What is likely to have happened to the price of agricultural products and the volume of imports of agricultural products? This question is from year 2019 May-June version 1. The correct answer for this question is option D. When a large amount of agricultural products in a country are damaged by floods, the supply of these products decreases significantly. As a result, the market experiences a reduction in available goods, which creates a scarcity of agricultural products. According to basic economic principles, when the supply of a good falls and demand remains the same or increases, the price of the product tends to rise. Consumers will compete for the limited supply, driving prices up. At the same time, to compensate for the reduced domestic production, the country is likely to increase its imports of agricultural products from other nations. This is because the domestic supply cannot meet demand, so the country would turn to foreign markets to fill the gap. Therefore, the price of agricultural products is likely to rise, and the volume of imports is likely to increase as well. Moving to question 7. What is meant by the equilibrium price in the market for a good? A. The average price paid by consumers. B. The price at which maximum profit is made. C. The price at which the producer breaks even. D. The price at which the supply and demand curves intersect. This question is from year 2019 February-March version 2. The correct answer for this question is option D. The price at which the supply and demand curves intersect. The equilibrium price is the price at which the quantity of a good demanded by consumers exactly matches the quantity supplied by producers. This occurs where the supply curve and the demand curve intersect on a market graph. At this price, there is no excess supply, surplus, or excess demand, shortage, meaning the market is in balance. In contrast, the other options are incorrect because they focus on specific conditions for individual producers or average pricing, which are not necessarily aligned with the broader market equilibrium. Thus, the equilibrium price is best defined as the point where supply equals demand. Moving to question 8. The diagram shows the equilibrium market price PE and quantity QE for rice in a country. Which government action could cause the market price for rice to become P1? A. Encouraging the export of rice from the country. B. Imposing a maximum price below the market price for rice. C. Providing a subsidy to farmers to produce more rice. D. Reducing import tariffs on rice. This question is from year 2018 October, November version 1. The correct answer for this question is option A. Encouraging the export of rice from the country would mean that more rice is leaving the domestic market and being sold to other countries. As a result, the supply of rice in the domestic market would decrease. When there is less supply of rice available for local consumers, the price tends to increase as demand outstrips the available supply. This is likely to push the price up to P1. Moving to question 9. In 2015, the world price of oil fell rapidly due to changes in the conditions of demand and supply. One change was the use of a new method of extraction called fracking. Which event would not have contributed to the fall in prices? A. China's growth slowed, leading to lower oil imports. B. Saudi Arabia increased the volume of its oil supplies. C. UK protest groups prevented the introduction of fracking projects. D. USA became more self-sufficient in oil due to fracking and reduced imports. This question is from year 2018 October, November version 3. The correct answer for this question is option C. UK protest groups prevented the introduction of fracking projects, would not have contributed to the fall in oil prices. If protest groups in the UK succeeded in preventing the introduction of fracking, this would likely limit the supply of oil from fracking in the UK and possibly reduce the global supply. Fracking in the US, however, played a key role in increasing the global supply of oil. In this case, preventing fracking in the UK wouldn't help lower prices, it would likely have the opposite effect by reducing supply. Moving to question 10. In recent years, the price of crude oil on the world market has fallen dramatically. One cause has been the increase in oil obtained by the new extraction process of fracking. How is this shown on a demand and supply diagram of the market for crude oil? A. A shift in the demand curve to the left. B. A shift in the demand curve to the right. C. A shift in the supply curve to the left. D. A shift in the supply curve to the right. This question is from year 2017 October, November, version 3. The correct answer for this question is option D, a shift in the supply curve to the right. Fracking, a new extraction method, has significantly increased the supply of crude oil, particularly in countries like the United States. When the supply of a good increases, the supply curve shifts to the right on a demand and supply diagram. In the case of oil, the increase in supply due to fracking means that more oil is available in the market at each price level. As a result, the supply curve moves to the right, leading to a decrease in the equilibrium price, assuming demand remains constant, which explains the fall in the price of crude oil. Moving to question 11. In 2015, there was a significant fall in the world price of petrol, gasoline. What would not have been a cause of the price fall? A. The continuing global recovery from the world economic recession. B. The increasing exploitation of U.S. oil reserves. C. The re-entry of Iranian producers to the world oil market. D. The shorter journeys from using the new Suez Canal. This question is from year 2017 May-June version 2. The correct answer for this question is option A, the continuing global recovery from the world economic recession. In 2015, the significant fall in the world price of petrol, gasoline, was primarily driven by factors related to the supply of oil, rather than demand factors. Option A, the continuing global recovery from the world economic recession, would not have been a cause of the price fall. In fact, the recovery from the global economic recession would typically increase demand for oil and petrol, as higher economic activity leads to more consumption. When demand for oil rises, prices tend to increase, not decrease. While demand factors can influence oil prices, the key reason for the price drop in 2015 was a surge in supply, not a fall in demand. Therefore, the recovery from the recession would more likely have put upward pressure on prices, not caused the price fall. Moving to question 12. What will be the impact on the market for oil of the closure of the world's largest oil field for maintenance work? A. A movement down the supply curve. B. A movement up the demand curve. C. A shift of the demand curve to the left. D. A shift of the supply curve to the right. This question is from year 2017 February-March version 2. The correct answer for this question is option B, a movement up the demand curve. When the world's largest oil field closes for maintenance, it will lead to a reduction in the supply of oil. However, if the oil supply decreases, prices are likely to rise due to the scarcity of oil, assuming that demand remains constant. Price increases as a result of the supply decrease. As the price of oil increases, consumers may reduce the quantity demanded of oil, as per the law of demand. However, some consumers might still be willing to purchase the good at the higher price, thus causing the quantity demanded to decrease at the higher price. This behavior is represented by a movement along the demand curve. In other words, a movement up the demand curve happens when the price increases due to the reduction in supply, which leads to a decrease in the quantity demanded at the new, higher price. This is not a shift of the demand curve itself, which would happen if there were a change in factors like income or consumer preferences, but a movement along the curve due to the price change resulting from the supply shock. Moving to question 13. The market for a good was in equilibrium. A change occurred which resulted in a new equilibrium with a higher price for the good and a lower quantity traded. What change would have caused this? A. The demand curve moved to the left. B. The demand curve moved to the right. C. The supply curve moved to the left. D. The supply curve moved to the right. This question is from year 2016 October, November, version 2. The correct answer for this question is option C. The supply curve moved to the left. When the market reaches a new equilibrium with a higher price and a lower quantity traded, the primary cause is a reduction in supply. A leftward shift of the supply curve means that, at each price level, producers are willing to supply less of the good than before. This creates a situation where there is less of the good available in the market, which leads to higher prices. With a reduction in supply, the good becomes scarcer, and the price tends to rise because buyers are competing for the limited quantity available. And lower quantity traded. As the price rises, some consumers may no longer be able to afford the good, or they may decide to buy less, leading to a decrease in the quantity traded. Moving to question 14. In a market, there is a shortage of a good. What change would cause the market to come to an equilibrium? A. A decrease in supply. B. A fall in price. C. An increase in demand. D. A rise in price. This question is from year 2016 February, March, version 2. The correct answer for this question is option D. A rise in price. In a market experiencing a shortage of a good, the quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied at the current price. This imbalance leads to pressure for the price to increase, as buyers compete for the limited supply of the good. As the price rises, a few key things happen. Quantity demanded typically decreases, due to the law of demand. As price rises, demand falls. Quantity supplied increases, due to the law of supply. As price rises, producers are willing to supply more. These changes move the market toward equilibrium, where the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied at the new, higher price. Moving to question 15. In August 2013, a lengthy strike in northeast India, where the finest and most expensive Darjeeling tea is grown, shut down the tea industry at harvest time. What is the likely outcome of such a situation on a demand and supply diagram for Darjeeling tea? A. The price will rise, because demand will switch to other teas. B. The price will rise, because the strike will cause a movement down the supply curve. C. The price will rise, because the supply curve will move to the left. D. The price will rise, because there will be a fall in demand for the remaining Darjeeling tea. This question is from year 2015 October, November, version 2. The correct answer for this question is option C. The price will rise, because the supply curve will move to the left. In this situation, the strike in northeast India shuts down the tea industry at harvest time, which means that the supply of Darjeeling tea will decrease. A decrease in supply occurs when producers are unable to produce or supply as much of the product due to a disruption in production. This is shown as a leftward shift of the supply curve on a demand and supply diagram. When the supply curve shifts to the left, the quantity of tea available in the market at each price level decreases. If demand for Darjeeling tea remains constant or relatively unchanged, the result will be a higher equilibrium price and a lower equilibrium quantity, reflecting the scarcity of the product. Thank you for watching this video. I hope the explanations of past paper questions and the reasoning behind the correct answers helped clarify